This is your News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo. Brace coming up in this hour from our studios here. Cement manufacturers face up to 3 years in jail under proposed legislation to regulate prices. We have details as Trade and Industry Minister Katie Hammond is defending his latest controversial proposal to regulate the prices of cement in the country. Also, Chairperson of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Enes Edujemfi, pushes for Ghana Card or One System as a system of identification to prevent foreigners from voting.
That whole system of busing people will continue. You bring people from a different constituency. If I think that this is my safe zone and I have enough votes, let me move people from there to another constituency.
Details as Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, in an exclusive interview with Joy News, says the NDC has so far been constructive with some valuable input since they made a return to IPAC.
It's of great benefit to all of us that they've returned to IPAC, and the discussions have been going on very well. They've been very constructive. There has been valuable feedback that has come.
Also, political analysts weighs chances of MPP against NDC and project a higher percentage of vote in the Ashanti region following ripe information about the confirmation of Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Puki-Prempeh has already made for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
I think it's not so much a surprise. A lot of political watchers within Ghana had actually tipped him.
Now, Trade and Industry Minister Katie Hammond is going full overdrive defending his latest controversial proposal to regulate the prices of cement in the country. An attempt to lay the document in Parliament yesterday was blocked by the NDC MPs who insisted the LI must first be discussed. By speaking to journalists in Parliament, Katie Hammond insisted this law is necessary to prevent a cartel of cement manufacturers from fleecing the public. There's more in the following report by Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante.
This is the second controversial legislative instrument that Kwabena Tahir Hammond, the Minister for Trade and Industry, is seeking to lay in Parliament. The first one, seeking to restrict the importation of sugar, rice, among other things, failed after significant public backlash and opposition from the NDC MPs in Parliament. This new one is expected to regulate the pricing of cement. And Katie Hammond has now been mounting a spirited defense for that legislation, insisting there is a cartel brewing within the cement manufacturing space and only a legislation is needed to stop the high prices of cement in the country.
For a long time, you never see cement prices de-escalating. It's always escalating. It's always going up through the ceiling, through the roof, and towards the skies. Somehow, something has to be done about this. But I think it behoves on those in responsible positions in authority to ensure that the good people of Ghana are not fleeced. I am not comfortable. I don't believe that we're getting good prices for all that it's worth. I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the pricing of cement in the country.
On Joy News on Tuesday, the Chamber of Cement Manufacturers did tell us that they had not been consulted by the minister or his ministry. Today, Katie Hammond has been offering a certain understanding of the engagement he had been having with the cement manufacturers prior to putting this LI before Parliament.
In my absence, I was told that the minister wasn't going to be able to do anything. They would not listen, they wouldn't do it, they would go the way they want. Well, I have only one other avenue. I mean, encouraging them to do it is a moral persuasion. If moral persuasion fails, there is a system in the country, there's a constitution, we operate by a rule of law. You come to Parliament and then you ensure that there are laws.
Katie Hammond also explains that this LI does not seek to impose prices on the cement manufacturers, but that there will be a committee, including the cement manufacturers themselves, to discuss and impose reasonable prices on the prices of cement in Ghana.
The LI is to this extent. The committee would sit down with the manufacturers and then they would determine, a roundtable discussion, determine what is it that is a reasonable price for a bag of cement. And of course, in doing that, they're going to take account of all the factors. We're not simply going to dictate to them, sell it for 20 cedis, sell it for 10 cedis. That's not how it's going to operate.
This LI is yet to be laid in the House. If it is laid, it will mature into law in 21 sitting days. The minority already say they should go through the pre-laying stage. There must be proud discussion with the minister, with the Cement Manufacturers Association and other stakeholders before enacting this into law. KT Hammond already insisting that that pre-laying procedure is alien to the Constitution of the Republic, and as far as he's concerned, his LI should be allowed to be laid in the House. The Speaker of Parliament has given the Subsidiary Legislation Committee a few days to discuss this LI and present a report to the House ahead of a possible laying of this document. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
And tonight, the Trade and Industry Minister is revealing that cement manufacturers can face up to 3 years in jail under the proposed legislation to regulate prices. He's been speaking exclusively to host of PM Express, Evans Mensah.
They decide not to comply at the peril of the penalty.
What penalties are you proposing?
Well, it's pretty hefty.
Well, that's what I would like to know, yes.
I'll tell you, 3 years imprisonment, or both, of fine and imprisonment. So, yeah, a person who contravenes what I've just indicated to you is liable conviction to the penalty points. We're talking about 2,500. The unit points, I think the multiplication of 12 or something is 2,500 penalty units. You convert that, I think it's 12 cedis or whatever. So how much that one comes to is the fine. And then maximum 4,000 penalty units. And that's what see, these companies, they are big ones. So if you limit them to fines, they will easily pay the fines and then come back and replicate the same whatever they want to do. So there's a stiffer one here. Now, imprisonment of not less than 2 years, and of course not more than 3 years, or both, fine and distance. But we don't leave it at that. Corporate responsibility and corporate whatever. So you well be thinking that, well, you can't put a company into prison. And so we go on to make clear that if it's a corporate...
who specifically suffers this?
So we have it here. In case of body corporate, every director and officer of that body corporate is deemed to have committed that offense, if it is...
Mr. Hammond, yes. You are proposing to throw people in jail for pricing a commodity above a ceiling.
Yeah.
That is... Well, that is backward.
That would respect
in an economy
it's
such
absolute
as ours.
nonsense. Don't worry so much about somebody going to jail or whatever. Why do you have to go to jail? Well, there is a commandment in the Bible: don't steal. It's there in our code: don't steal. If you don't steal, you go to prison.
But why?
So I'm not worried about. Why are you not worried about those things?
Why don't you simply fix the economy?
You see, again,
which is a fundamental point.
Again, no, wait a minute. How do you fix the economy? We say we are not fixing it. If they won't. They decide not to comply.
And the full interview is at 9 p.m. on the PM Express. Catch that full interview. Now, also striking medical doctors at the oncology unit of the Confirmatory Teaching Hospital have returned to the consulting room after 2 days of failing to attend to cancer patients. The health workers embarked on a strike to register protest over delayed installation of an essential equipment in the diagnosis and treatment of patients. Management of CAF had insisted it has demonstrated enough commitment in procuring the water phantom needed to calibrate the linear accelerators used for administering targeted radiation therapy. Hospital spokesperson Kwame Frimpong indicated it will take time for the hospital to take delivery of the machine despite proof of letters of credit to its suppliers. The striking doctors have decided to shelve their action after leaders of the Confirmatory Doctors Association and the Ghana Medical Association held a meeting with the hospital's management.
So yesterday night, the leadership of the Confirmatory Doctors Association and then the Ashanti Regional Division of the Ghana Medical Association notified management that the striking doctors at the oncology directorate wanted to meet management. And in line with management policy of open door policy, it agreed to meet them this morning. And they came, they met management, and they raised a number of issues which management identified with those concerns. And the assurances were once again given to them as to the steps that were being taken to address those concerns. And on the basis of that, they've resumed work. And see things for yourself. They are attending to patients as we speak.
My colleague Nana Boache Yadom joins me via Zoom now. Nana, so share with us what transpired during the meeting with these doctors.
During the meeting with the doctors at the oncology department of the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital, they raised several concerns as to the linear accelerator, which hasn't been functioning since October 2023. Now, management earlier indicated that they are taking in steps to ensure they purchase a brand new linear water phantom machine. But what we are learning from the meeting is that the doctors did require management to purchase a new linear accelerator. In fact, if a new water phantom machine is purchased to calibrate the linear accelerator, they say it can even break down. And so considering steps being taken by management to fix the existing linear accelerator, it would be more appropriate for them to purchase a new machine for them to treat cancer patients who come into the oncology department of the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital. All these are some of the concerns being raised by the medical doctors who had an engagement earlier today with the management of the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital. Some other thing that we did pick out is that they are calling on management to also do some form of assessment day in and day out at their units, because they claim that several equipment, not just the linear accelerator, do break down, and so management should consider doing several assessments at their unit to make sure that the treatment of cancer is rapidly resolved anytime they have issues with them.
Okay. And what is management doing to ensure that these issues are resolved with regards to providing the equipment they say they need?
Well, earlier on, management did bring out some proof of letters of credit to their suppliers. Now, we are being told that the linear accelerator is not purchased anywhere in Africa, not even in Ghana. They would have to purchase it outside Africa. And so for them to be able to purchase the new water phantom machine, which is needed to calibrate the linear accelerator, they have to show letters of credit to the intermediary bank of their suppliers. And that has been done, but then the suppliers are yet to receive the letters of credit from the intermediary bank. And so that is what is currently delaying the delivery of this water phantom machine to the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital. But then with proof of letters of credit being shown to the human resource manager of the oncology department and then doctors themselves, management are assuring them of securing a new water phantom machine which will be used to calibrate the existing linear accelerator. They are expecting to have that machine any moment from now. They did not give us specific dates, but then they are putting in measures to make sure that their suppliers do receive their letters of credit and also bring out the water phantom machine needed for calibration.
All right, Nana, I'm grateful to you there. So Nana Boache Yadom has been monitoring this particular development there for us. Now, away from that, there is a warning that Ghana's health system is in a precarious state and the situation might even worsen as a result of the mass exodus of health professionals, especially doctors and nurses. The latest Ghana Human Development Report themed the future value of work in Ghana says that 24% of nurses trained in Ghana are currently working abroad due to poor working conditions. The situation is even more critical for doctors trained in Ghana, with 50% having left the country. The document, authored by the United Nations Development Programme Ghana in partnership with the Statistical Service and the National Development Planning Commission, states that the health sector requires policy and pragmatic measures to avert a total shutdown of the sector. There's more in the following report.
There you go. A celebration heralding the launch of the National Human Development Report. According to the United Nations Development Programme in Ghana, this piece of document is vital in assessing the state of human development in Ghana.
Now, National Human Development Reports are a crucial tool for assessing the state of human development in a country. And they also provide a comprehensive analysis of various socioeconomic indicators, helping us understand where we stand and what needs to be done to improve the quality of life for all.
This has become very topical. Everywhere people are talking about the future of work. Yes, because we are going through a very significant transition, and more or less they term it a revolution. The fourth one, of course, and the Industrial Revolution brings to us the challenge of the work that is coming back to us in the future. It means that if we don't organize ourselves, we might not be fit for that work, or if we don't organize ourselves, the work might not be there for us.
Released by the United Nations Development Programme in Ghana in partnership with some other state agencies, the report highlighted major issues in the labour market in some thematic areas, including the health sector, which is experiencing a mass exodus of health professionals. So far, it is estimated that about 50% of doctors trained in Ghana are now working abroad. The rate is 24% for nurses, who equally lament poor working conditions in Ghana. Professor Samuel Kobina Inim is government statistician.
I mean, definitely once you have your professionals moving out of the country, it's an issue of concern. But we always have to look at these numbers in the context of the targets that we have. For every country, you expect a natural out-migration, but the question is it consistent with the target relative to the numbers that you are training and the numbers that you expect to be retained in this country? So this is where we refer our discussions to what the policy documents are when it comes to the numbers that we are training, the numbers that we expect to be retained, and obviously the numbers that we don't have control over that would exit. I don't have on top of my head what the statistical targets are on these issues, but definitely going forward, these are some of the contextual discussions that we're going to have.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme resident representative in Ghana, Angela Lusigi, believes that the data shows there is a strong supply chain which the government and authorities could leverage using effective national policies.
I think it's very interesting that there is an external market for Ghanaian nurses and doctors, and it means that there's a strong supply chain. So the question for me is, how are we taking advantage of the strong supply chain of doctors and nurses in the country to create opportunities for them to work both here in Ghana and abroad? I think COVID taught us the importance of planning ahead for the next pandemic, and also how do we use technology to be able to improve the working conditions for nurses and doctors in this country.
The National Human Development Report is expected to serve as a guiding framework for policymakers to work towards building a more inclusive society. Blessed Sugan's report for Joy News, Accra.
Let's get on this by speaking to David Tinkran-Chum, who is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Grateful to you for joining. How many health staff, nurses and midwives especially, have left Ghana in the last 10 years? Do we know the reasons aside the poor working conditions that is pushing these people away?
Good evening, my brother, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. It's not far-fetched. I will not be able, on top of my head, give you the exact numbers, but I can tell you that it's not different from what has been put out there by the research. There are pull and push factors, no doubt about it. We've lamented copiously about how the healthcare workers in Ghana, especially nurses and midwives, have been neglected over the years. Very poor condition of service, logistics, and then they don't see any future in staying in the country. And basically, that is the reason why they are leaving.
If you say they don't see any future, what exact future do they want to see?
Because everybody expects that he or she will be handsomely rewarded whilst at work, and even when he or she goes on retirement. We have seen quite a number of nurses retire as paupers. And do you want to retire as a pauper if you're a young man or a young lady? So they will certainly leave. I mean, from nursing senior, look, let me give you something. Senior nursing officers, or from the enrolled nurse to senior nursing and midwifery officers in this country, have no single allowance in Ghana. Somebody has worked for 10 years, somebody has completed university, worked for 4 years, 5 years, has no component of allowance as part of his condition of service, except the meager salary. So why would they leave? I have always said there is no way we can pay as much as what is being paid out there. But if we prioritize, we envisioned the health workers, okay, and decide that we will give them what is due them, they will stay. Of course, there's a natural migration, but in Ghana, less than 7% will migrate. Okay. ILO says that about 7% of the total population in the world are migrants. So it tells you that if things are tightened up properly, if we do the right thing, the less than 7% will only migrate. The rest will stay and take good care of our people. We are providing infrastructure, and we think that we are patting ourselves at the back. If you provide infrastructure and the human resource is not there, how are they going to, fill in those infrastructures? How are they going to provide that kind of services that we require as a people?
So if government gives you the allowance and provides you, all the things you're craving for, then of course you'll stay.
Precisely. Why would people? I have one. I only traveled abroad and came back, or studied abroad and came back. Quite a number of nurses, more than 80%, will stay in Ghana and deliver the services that the people of Ghana requires. But they are working in a very terrible conditions. Recently, we went for condition of service negotiations, and we were told by the employer that they are not ready to take on board any new allowances. If there is any time that nurses and midwives will have to be compensated, it's now, when quite a number of them are living in droves. So which other time do you have to give better condition of service to nurses than now? So if you're not able to do it now, then you won't do it again. And that is why the young people think that, look, they better think about their future than to ruin it as others have done.
The other time you were quoting figures of people who have applied to leave in this year. How many do we have now? How many have applied?
I've lost count. I'm not even interested anymore in doing that. But let me show you something from the Home Office from United Kingdom. Just 2023, 39,700 healthcare workers were issued with visas. All right? Let me show something with you briefly. Yes, Ghana is the 5th largest contributor of healthcare workers to United Kingdom, and it stands at 31,900. Only 2023. And this is UK, and there are several destinations. So the issue is terrible. And people talk about quantitative exodus. I talk about qualitative exodus. The people who are living are the cream de la cream. Those who have worked more than 5 years, who are experienced, who are supposed to help reskill and upskill the young ones that are coming.
All right. David, I'm grateful to you for joining. I hope that we continue this conversation. David Tenkrine is the Secretary General of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Now, the Locked Up Investment Holders Forum has petitioned the Speaker of Parliament to impress upon the Finance Ministry to include a release of their locked up funds in the upcoming mid-year budget review. The group has been picketing the Finance Ministry for the past 4 weeks in demand for their locked up funds at NDK Finance and 3 other deposit-taking institutions. The group's persistent request to meet either the Finance Minister or his deputies to table their demands before them has yet to happen. The group is requesting the Bank of Ghana and the Finance Ministry to declare as insolvent and revoke the licenses of NDK Financial Services, Bond Savings and Loans, SIC Savings, Life Savings and Loans, and SDC Financial Services, the 4 deposit-taking institutions that have failed to release their locked-up funds to them. The following report has more.
Well, there's a new twist to the demands by the Locked Up Investment Holders Forum. The lead convener of the group, Dr. Edu Anani Entry, says they have petitioned Parliament to impress upon government to include in the mid-year budget review to make available funds to pay them.
Today what we have done is that we have sent a direct petition to the Speaker of Parliament. And in the petition we have said we want Parliament to intervene and impress on the Minister of Finance to include a provision, the provision that the Bank of Ghana is expecting, the provision that Bank of Ghana is waiting for before it withdraws the licenses of these 4 institutions. Parliament should impress on the Minister to include that provision in the mid-year budget, the mid-year review budget that the Ministry is going to present to Parliament shortly. So that is the petition we have sent to the Speaker of Parliament, that they should ensure, they should impress, they should intervene to impress on the Minister to make that provision in the upcoming mid-year review, the budget that they will be presenting to Parliament.
And as has become characteristic of their picketing, they picket the Finance Ministry every Wednesday to drum home their concerns about their locked up funds at 4 deposit-taking institutions. And today, too, they were here expressing their frustration at the delay in payments of their funds.
At Bank of Ghana, the governor and the deputies made us aware that they are aware of the distressed position of these financial houses, that we have actually brought the petition to them. So they are ready to revoke their licenses if they need be. But they can only act by doing that when they get clearance from the Finance Ministry. So for some months now, we've been coming to Finance Ministry to picket here to press at home our demands that if Bank of Ghana is waiting for you, then you also have to do the needful. This is a financial situation we find ourselves now. So you must act. So that is why we are here. So our case is slightly different from those who are now going to enjoy from this particular 1.5. Ours have not been touched at all.
It's 12 o'clock. Your picketing always ends at 12 o'clock. There's no sign of the minister or his deputies, as has been a characteristic of your coming here. Are you disappointed?
No, we are not disappointed. You know, if you got a baby and every day he or she continues to cry, one day you will come out to ask him, oh, what is happening to you? So I'm not disappointed at all. We will continue to come till November.
Yeah, I found baby bonnet. My register on my mom lances. And the DSC Cabay investment. It's the idea of and it's say it's here, ma'am. Now you invest in a bonia or moncanity investment. Say a bonia or moncanity.
The group says if Parliament impresses upon government to include their funds in the media budget review and the distribution starts, they will eventually stop picketing here. But as to whether that demand will be met, time will tell. From the Ministry of Finance, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please don't go away. Welcome back from the break now. Chairperson of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Edu Jemfi, says until the country accepts the Ghana card or one form of identification, foreigners will continue to actively participate in Ghana's electoral process. Reverend Edu Jemfi, who complained about how a chunk of registrants in the recently held voter registration exercise used the guarantor system, argued that the country should take a firmer decision on the system of identification after this year's general elections. He spoke to my colleague Latif Idrisu following a meeting with the Electoral Commission at the premises of the National Peace Council.
People busing people from place. We looked at all of those things. But the reality is that until we accept Ghana card or one system as our form of registration, the figures they gave us today, 63% of those who registered within this short period use the guarantor system. That's too high. Ghana card are 39%. 63. So that whole system of busing people will continue. You bring people from a different constituency. If I think that this is my safe zone and I have enough votes, let me move people from there to another constituency. And then you go and say, where's your card? Where do you live? Somebody comes in and says, well, I know him. He lives here. How can you challenge those things? So we have to come to this point. But during our last meeting in December, when we reviewed a lot of the things that are going on, we felt that between now and the election, if we insist on some of this, it could create chaos. But immediately after the election, there's a need for us as a country to sit back and say, what is the best for us? Can we just allow people to dictate our future? They may not be Ghanaians, they may not be, but because we don't have a system of identifying them, they are here and they vote. And sometimes the politicians themselves benefit from it. So they will not allow us to do these things. But for us as Ghanaians, we must agree. What is the system of identifying the Ghanaian?
Meanwhile, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, says the return of the opposition NDC to IPAC has so far proven fruitful as the party has given some valuable input to improve Ghana's electoral system.
It's of great benefit to all of us that they've returned to IPAC, and the discussions have been going on very well. They've been very constructive. There has been valuable feedback that has come from the NDC as well as some of the other parties. And we've taken those on board, and we've inputted them, and we're working to implement them in our processes. And so for the just ended registration exercise, there was valuable feedback that the NDC brought on board, and we've considered quite a number of the ideas and the suggestions, and we've taken them on board. So we continue to engage in a constructive way.
Clearly there was that rift, that friction between the Electoral Commission and the opposition NDC. How have you managed, last but one, how have you managed to oil it again, to have a fluid relationship between your outfit and the opposition NDC?
Let's focus on IPAC. I think the relationship has gone well. As I mentioned to you, there's been constructive dialogue at IPAC. Issues are discussed, issues are raised, and they are discussed in an open manner. And I did mention that the NDC has been very constructive. They've brought on board very useful feedback that has gone a long way to strengthen aspects of our work. So we believe that even as we go on in the lead up to the elections, as we discuss issues of importance to our country and to the election, we'll continue to receive useful feedback that we'll use and implement for our work.
Well, Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, the ICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, also the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, a Convenient Service and Youth Bridge Foundation. Election Headquarters for an informed electorate. Now, a political analyst has assessed the electoral prospect of the MPP against the NDC, predicting a high percentage of vote for the MPP in the Ashanti region in the upcoming general elections. Now, this projection comes after credible sources confirmed the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, as a running mate to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, boosting the MPP's chances in the region and beyond. There is more in this report.
Time is running out for MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to select his running mate 7 months after his election. He emerged victorious among 10 aspirants, receiving an overwhelming endorsement at the Superdelegates Conference. Since then, Dr. Bawumia has launched his campaign and manifesto teams, united the party through various engagements, and toured all 16 regions to garner support from key stakeholders. However, one crucial decision remains: choosing his running mate. Prominent names like Dr. Yao Edichum, Fremo Pari, and Dr. Maito Opoku-Prempeh have been mentioned, with reports suggesting Dr. Opoku-Prempeh as the front-runner. Our sources have now confirmed that Dr. Maito Opoku-Prempeh has been chosen as Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's running mate, following a meeting with the president. Political analyst Professor Lidu Seidu says this does not come to him as a surprise.
So I think it's not so much a surprise. A lot of political watchers within Ghana had actually tipped him that he is likely going to be the running mate, based on a lot of media report, publicity, and survey findings that have actually confirmed that he is the most preferred candidate within the rank and file of the MPP. So I think we know that, or we've heard, we've heard that he was the preference of the MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, because he has ticked almost all the boxes that the party has agreed for the person who will be partnering with him.
Professor Alidu, however, weighs Dr. Opoku-Prempeh's chances against NDC's running mate, Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman.
The question is, by how many votes? So
how does this play out in the bigger picture of who eventually takes the elections?
So in politics, we always say that you stand to lose greatly if you don't have a constituency. So if the constituency is not necessarily where you go and vote, but it's your stronghold, where you get your support from. So to start with, both the leaders of the two NDC and PP are all from the north, and they all claim the north to be their constituency in the party. What they will bring on board or add to what the party already have. So when you look at it, I think there's going to be a lot of dogfight for votes in the north. Even if you lose the election nationally and you're able to do so well in your constituency or your background, it still speaks to the fact that at least you have a constituency to hold on to. But if you lose even if you win the national election, you lose on your constituency or your background, people will still use it against you that you are not even popular. You couldn't even win your hometown. So definitely, it is for both the North is for both the NDC and the NPP to win, especially given the kind of flag bearers that they have. They will also always have to make sure that they consolidate their gains from their constituency. Then they will now spread to the rest of the country to let them know that at least we selected a flag bearer from your end and you didn't embarrass the party.
All right, let's do showbiz now, and the queen of the showbiz. I mean, Becky Beggs is all you know. You got it always on time. Hi, how you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm good. You have beautiful legs, huh?
Oh,
anyway, yeah.
But it's a good time to talk about Joe Mettle. You know, he has this event, Praise Reloaded, 2024, coming up this Sunday. Yeah, it's on Sunday on the 30th at the stadium. It's the first time he's doing something like that. He says that he is ready for the event, and I hope that you are ready.
It's coming great. It's coming together. I mean, it's obviously it's not a very easy thing to do, but at the same time, it's coming really, really great. I must say, I'm really grateful to God, and the team has been holding things down, making sure I focus just on the spiritual things and allow them to do what they do best. And so it's coming great.
And one of the more reasons why I'm surprised is the fact that this year it looks like a lot bigger than you have ever done.
I know.
Because
and that's the more reason why I should be worried.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, you're doing what? The Craswell Stadium.
I know.
You know, and it's free. You probably pay from your pocket
a lot of money.
You should be stressed. You should not be looking this good, bro.
You know, I think part of the thing too is over time I've come to realize the fact that the stress never brings solution.
Right.
It rather adds to the problem later. So if I can save myself the stress and use that strength I would have used to manage the stress to fix if there are things later. So I think over time you just learn to manage it. So
absolutely.
Yeah, do what you can do. Do it to the best of your ability and allow God to do what he does best. Come in and add his blessing to, everything. What a blessing. For the past, I would say 12 years, we're seeing like different phases of it. It's grown from one small event to the big, to the many testimonies, to some of the things that comes after in terms of like how God touched people and it's just been amazing. And
what's your mindset going into this particular one, especially because it's way bigger? You're doing that at the stadium. What do you have in?
I think I more or less have an expectation of what the promise of God for the event is. It's that it's going to be an encounter of the Holy Spirit. And whenever a people encounter the Holy Spirit, things happen. Deliverance happen, breakthroughs occur, healing, many manifestations. Above all, there will be a ton of testimonies that we're trusting God for.
I know.
Yeah.
Please don't go into the screen.
No, I'm not.
But Joe Metal, this particular program will have Nathaniel Bassi.
Yeah, I know. Simi Sola will be there.
Beautiful voice right there. Or Hema Messi, my mother, Hema Messi.
Sandra Boachidua will also be there. Yeah.
What Joe Metal is doing with, these gospel sounds, I mean, only God can tell. God bless you, brother. But let's talk about Sarkodie because he is in the trends for his performance on the Mason Hennessy cipher. The only thing I don't know how to do is rap.
Okay. And when I was in school, I used to rap, so...
We're listening to the story.
No, don't worry. I mean, for those who attended school with me in Bedubon, so would know that when I was in Bedubon, so I used to rap. I used to do a lot of things. They called me Batman.
So what do you make of Sarkodie's rap on this?
I mean, that guy really, look, he's out of the bracket. He's on his own. He does things and sets the trend. So you give it to him, you expect that he will deliver, and that's what he's done.
Okay.
He's Sarkodie, really,
In Sark.
Yeah.
We say hello.
That's it.
But let's move away from.
But if I had taken my rap
seriously,
I would have murdered him. Yeah, here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nollywood veteran Kanayo Kanayo has revealed his ambitions to remain active in the film industry until he reaches the age of 90. Yes, the 62-year-old actor shared his aspiration in a preview of an episode of the Honest Bunch podcast. Kanayo also voiced concerns about what he sees as the influx of untalented women in Nollywood.
BBL, you have it. And puff it up. And start saying, start doing your hand like this.
Oh my God.
So most of the girls are coming to Nollywood to learn how to act. You don't come to Nollywood to learn how to act. You come to Nollywood to know how to exploit your trade and make it better. Acting is in you. If it's not in you, go and sell crayfish. I hope you know the name Nollywood was nothing. When they were writing in New York, we didn't give ourselves that name. It was like Nothing Wood. Oh, wow. If Denzel Washington puts in the number of hours I put in a production here, his color will change to charcoal the next day. Because we built this industry with tears, sweat, and blood. Some of us are lucky to still have our health in good place.
True.
We started this industry at a time when there was a light called 2K. If they didn't want 2K on you, they will remove from your name. It was so hot. I want a situation where at 70, 75, 80, 90, as God will give life, I'll still be acting. So I don't want little people who don't know anything about the industry to dig the grave from the leg. I fear no man.
Kanayo there. Ending Showbiz here on Joy News Prime. Brace, we're grateful to our viewers for their time. We hope that we've earned the privilege of your time.
All right. So thank you very much for being with us. Up next is Pius Kojobaka with Prime Business. But remember that there's more news and information on myjoyonline.com. Thanks for being a part of us. Good evening.